Cloud Kollo ඔබගේ මඟ පෙන්වන්නේ මුළු cloud ලෝකේ නව පහන් එකතු කරන්න.
Welcome back to Cloud Kollo. I think we're doing the first video for this year, right?
Yeah. We took a short break. Yeah.
So it's kind of be like a long break now. Like after 2 or 3 weeks, we're doing a video,
Yeah, we are just getting warmed up, right?
getting warm
So,
up. So the company start working. We are starting working, and now
now we are making videos again.
now we're making videos again. So today we're going to talk about something interesting,
Yeah.
something like everyone is looking for. Everyone going to be
And everyone needs to learn this basically. So yeah.
and going forward, this will be the next evolution, or anyway, this has been in the industry for a while.
For a while, yeah.
So today we're going to talk about Docker and Kubernetes,
Kubernetes, yeah.
like the brother and the sister.
Yeah.
So Nuan, like when we talk about Kubernetes, Docker, what is the first thought that comes to your head?
So basically, Kubernetes is sorry, Docker.
Docker.
Yeah. So Docker is basically a container which hosts some kind of a code or a part of a program,
Yeah.
a microservice basically. So that's how you like explain it in a like technical manner. But if we like take it in a normal like every day to day like words, how to explain that? It's basically what it says, a container. It has its own shape, its
Yeah.
size, and it fits where it should fit.
Yeah.
And that kind of an explanation we can give.
Yeah. Like Nuan explained, you might already seen a container.
Yeah.
So what is a container? It's secure and it could fit anywhere.
Yeah.
And any port would accept the container
Because it's a universally it's
universal
the same
standard,
size,
isn't it?
and it's a standard. Yeah.
And so that's right. So if you think about the software, it's the same thing. You could put your program into a small part,
Yeah.
which is called the microservices,
Yes.
and then host it in a
Separate containers, multiple containers will make up that software. Yeah.
And so let's say, I think another common thing that you hear when you talk about this programming industry or in the programming world, it works in my computer.
Yeah, it works in my computer, but when I deploy it into my production, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
So that's a normal thing that developers say, right?
Developer says.
Yeah.
So basically, I think like you can even say I use a Mac and one is a Windows computer.
Yeah.
So if you create a program and if I pass this code to Nuan, it might doesn't work the same way it was working.
Yeah.
So to go over this hurdle,
Yeah.
we could use a Docker.
Yeah.
And write the program in Docker, and then I could share the same thing to him. Then he could run it.
Yeah, because even though the platform is different, Docker and its services and all the libraries will be the same, right?
Same.
So it'll run the same thing in like both platforms, but still it's running on Docker.
Yeah, that's right. So I think sometimes people might think, why we need the Docker? We could just spin up like a virtual machine, and then like I can log into the virtual machine, type the code, and he can also log into the virtual machine, like share the same machine and do the workload. But
Yeah.
the thing is, when it comes to real world, it's really hard to do that, because like today the big companies break down the application to small parts.
Yeah.
And also the payment gate might use a different dependencies.
Yeah, there's like nowadays like people use multiple languages and multiple libraries and multiple kernels to write programs, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to manage everything.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can't just deploy a VM that has everything in it.
Yeah.
So it's easier for us to like use something like Docker, so that the software has everything that it needs to run and nothing more than it.
Yeah.
So it contains everything that it wants, but nothing more.
Yeah, that's right. So, and also I think the Dockers are much faster than having a virtual machine.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like since everyone is into IT, you should know how hard it is to like create a virtual machine, right? You need to find the hardware, you need to install the OS, and
Yeah.
then the required libraries, whatever, all the software that you need to install before you run your program, right?
Yeah.
But that's not Docker. So Docker is simply it has that image and it has everything that you need to run that software. You just spin it up in minutes.
Yeah, that's right. So basically, I think this is just an introduction video about what is Docker and Kubernetes. So we
Yeah.
won't talk much
Technically, yeah,
technically. We
too
will do
much
that in the
technical stuff.
next part of the video series.
Yeah.
But now let's go to the next one, which is what is Kubernetes.
Yeah. So Kubernetes is the person who actually manages the Docker containers.
Yeah,
So if we take an example, he's the basically the master or the orchestrator of the orchestra.
yeah,
So he's the one who's like, okay, you play this, you play that, and he's the one who's managing all the musicians
yeah.
basically. So that's something that we can compare it to.
Compare. That's true. And also, like for example, let's say one container has a front end, the other container has a back end,
Yeah.
another has a database, and the Kubernetes makes sure all these containers communicate
Communicating with each other. Yeah.
effectively. And also another advantages of Kubernetes are like it automatically scales the containers up and down based on the traffic
Traffic. Yeah. Yeah.
and also the health, right?
Yeah, it monitors the health and it replaces or restarts every container that is giving issues. And it also supports with updates. It supports rolling updates. That means like it'll automatically update each container by container, not like everything restarts
Yeah,
and like your application goes down. That's not how it does it.
yeah, that's right. So sometimes you might have to like shutting down the whole
Whole thing. And yeah, if you are using a VM, right, so you shut down the whole thing when you're doing an update, but that's not the case anymore. You can't do that.
That's right. So I think that's totally what is Kubernetes are. And like if we diving in detail, I think this is like Kubernetes was made by Google and it was being publicly available and made open source from
Yeah.
Google. And like for example, for instance, Google relies on Kubernetes to maintain the availability of its services like Gmail and
Yeah.
Google Drive.
Everyone basically nowadays uses this microservices architecture to manage and deploy their software
Yeah,
anyway. And every cloud provider and every provider has their own flavor added to it. Like Azure has Azure Kubernetes services, and AWS has its own. Google has the AKS, and so there's like multiple flavors. Like some services added on top of Kubernetes, and they add some value added services on
yeah,
top of the Kubernetes. So they have like different flavors these days.
yeah, that's right. And also like Spotify use Kubernetes to run their application across multiple,
Netflix,
yeah, Netflix,
yeah,
Google, Amazon,
everyone
everyone using
use,
this
yeah,
Kubernetes to look after their platform and the core and stuff.
yeah.
And like if you talk about, you might wondering, do you use Docker and Kubernetes together? The answer is
Of
yes.
course, it's like bread and butter.
Yeah.
You need to both.
And Docker handles creating the containers while
Kubernetes
Kubernetes for
manages it
managing at the
basically.
scale, and they're like the two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And I think this gives you a basic idea what is this Kubernetes and Docker are.
Doga, yeah, yeah. You need to have a. If you are not like into that much of ID, you don't need to like go extensively deep and do a technical level understanding. But still, it's better that you know like what these are
Yeah, because it might ask you in your interview
in
question,
interviews. Yeah,
at least you know what is this two words
yeah.
mean.
How it works basically, not in a technical way, but high level. Yeah,
Yeah, and then if you don't, so just to tell you, this is just an introduction video about
yeah.
what is Docker and Kubernetes are. And if you want to learn it, first learn Docker, and then if you're when you're comfortable with the containers, move to Kubernetes.
Kubernetes. Yeah.
And we will do more videos on these two topics in detail, and we will try to bring some industry experts to our channel and
Yes.
talk about these ones in
And
future.
we'll probably do some
That's an
hands-on,
experience.
yeah, kind of thing. Yeah.
And so make sure you subscribe to our channel Cloud Kollo. And if this video helpful, give us a thumbs up and drop any questions that's in your head,
In the comment section.
comment
Yeah.
section, and we would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
And that's the video for today. That's a wrap, and see you in the next video.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.